High creatinine? Avoid these three foods immediately. When creatinine begins to rise, the body sends signals long before the reports do: sudden heaviness after meals, swelling around the ankles, unusual fatigue, and a feeling that your kidneys are working harder than they should. Most people assume these symptoms are caused by overeating or dehydration, but the reality is often much simpler. Certain everyday foods place far more pressure on your kidneys than you realize. Some foods create excess metabolic waste, some disturb fluid balance, and others force the kidneys to work overtime just to get rid of the sodium they bring in. If your creatinine is high, these foods don't just slow your healing, they actively block your kidneys from getting better. Today, we're uncovering 3 surprising foods you should avoid immediately if you're trying to lower high creatinine. These aren't dramatic or extreme ingredients. They're everyday items that quietly overstress the kidneys and make filtration more difficult than it needs to be. Removing them from your routine can create an immediate difference in how you feel and how your kidneys function. Now let's uncover a food that looks harmless and flavorful, but quietly puts intense pressure on your kidneys. Pickled lotus stem may seem like a tasty, crunchy side dish, but for anyone with high creatinine, it becomes one of the most harmful foods to keep on the plate. Lotus stem itself is nutritious, but the moment it is pickled, its nature completely changes. The brining process loads it with salt, acids, and preservatives that place a tremendous burden on weakened kidneys. The first issue is the extremely high sodium content. Pickled lotus stem absorbs salt deeply into its pores during fermentation, making it far more concentrated than regular salted foods. For someone with high creatinine, this sodium surge causes immediate fluid retention, swelling, and increased pressure inside the kidneys, all of which worsen filtration. Because of this salt overload, blood vessels tighten, and circulation becomes strained. When blood cannot move smoothly through the kidneys, filtration slows down, waste builds up, and creatinine levels rise. This is why even a small serving of pickled lotus stem can cause noticeable discomfort, heaviness, or puffiness within hours. The acidic solution used in pickling also irritates the digestive tract. Many kidney patients already struggle with sensitive digestion or slow metabolism. When the digestive system is irritated, the absorption process becomes erratic, leaving more waste circulating in the bloodstream that the kidneys must clean. This adds unnecessary pressure to an already overworked system. Pickled lotus stems often contain synthetic preservatives designed to increase shelf life. These preservatives produce chemical residues that the kidneys must remove. For healthy kidneys, this extra work may go unnoticed, but for someone managing high creatinine, each chemical particle becomes another obstacle the kidneys must fight to eliminate. The crunchiness of pickled lotus stem may make it enjoyable, but that crunch signals a dense, fibrous matrix. When combined with salt and acidic brine, the fibers become harder to digest. Slow digestion increases the production of metabolic waste, which flows into the bloodstream and creates more strain on the kidneys. Another concern is how pickled foods disturb fluid balance. The high sodium level causes water to shift into tissues instead of staying in circulation. This imbalance forces the kidneys to work harder to remove excess water, often leading to swelling in the legs, tightness in the hands, and a heavier feeling around the face. Pickled lotus stem can also trigger spikes in blood pressure, an immediate red flag for anyone with kidney issues. High blood pressure damages the tiny filtering units inside the kidneys. Over time, this damage prevents the kidneys from clearing waste efficiently, causing creatinine to rise steadily. The brine used in pickling often contains artificial flavoring agents that deepen the taste. These flavor enhancers may seem harmless, but they require detoxification by the kidneys. When creatinine is already high, the kidneys cannot keep up with this chemical load, leading to slower filtration and increased waste retention. Many people eat pickled lotus stem as a quick side dish with meals, often consuming more than they realize. Each additional bite adds a dose of sodium that accumulates rapidly. For individuals with high creatinine, this pattern can cause daily fluctuations in swelling, blood pressure, and overall kidney comfort. Pickled foods, including lotus stem, tend to stimulate thirst. Drinking extra water afterward may seem harmless, but drinking too much at once can overwhelm compromised kidneys. This sudden fluid shift can cause discomfort, reduced filtration efficiency, and an increase in creatinine concentration. The vinegar and acidic environment also affect the stomach lining. When the stomach becomes irritated, digestion slows down, allowing more waste to stay in the bloodstream. This creates a constant cycle where the kidneys must work harder than they should, worsening kidney fatigue and preventing healing. Another hidden danger is the tendency to pair pickled lotus stems with heavy meals. This combination multiplies the kidney-burden-dense food, plus extreme sodium makes filtration even more difficult. The kidneys experience compounded stress, making it harder for the body to maintain stable creatinine levels. Pickled lotus stem also interferes with electrolyte balance. While the salt overload pushes sodium levels upward, it disrupts potassium and mineral regulation. These imbalances place kidneys under additional strain, making healing slower and symptoms more noticeable. Removing pickled lotus stems from your diet is one of the most effective steps you can take to reduce kidney stress. Without this sodium-heavy, chemical-loaded food, your kidneys receive immediate relief. Your body can maintain smoother fluid balance, your digestion becomes more comfortable, and your filtration system gets the break it needs to support creatinine recovery. If you've ever struggled with swelling, tiredness after meals, or rising creatinine, share your experience below. Your story might help someone else understand their symptoms better and take the next step toward healthier habits. This community grows stronger when we learn from one another. Let's take a closer look at a food that seems convenient and high protein, but silently places heavy pressure on the kidneys. Fermented soy chunks may look like an easy source of plant protein, but for someone with rising creatinine, they can create more trouble than benefit. The fermentation process changes the structure of soy, producing compounds that the kidneys must work harder to break down and eliminate from the bloodstream. This makes your filtration system handle more waste at a time when it already needs rest. Their texture also makes them demanding on your digestive system. Soy chunks are dense, chewy, and slow to break apart during digestion. For seniors or individuals dealing with weakened kidney function, this slower breakdown means more metabolic waste is produced throughout the day, increasing the kidney's workload and contributing to fatigue after meals. Another challenge is the concentrated protein content. When kidneys are struggling, high-protein foods generate excess nitrogen-based waste, which the kidneys must filter continuously. Fermented soy chunks, being protein-heavy, push that load even further, making creatinine levels harder to manage and pushing the kidneys into unnecessary overwork. Store-bought soy chunks often contain added salts or flavoring agents used during processing. These hidden sodium sources quickly build pressure inside the blood vessels, tightening circulation and forcing the kidneys to handle a heavier fluid load. Even a small amount can dramatically increase water retention, causing swelling of the ankles and face. The fermentation process can also increase specific byproducts that irritate the digestive tract. Many individuals with high creatinine already experience sluggish digestion. When foods sit longer in the stomach or intestines, unwanted toxins circulate for extended periods, forcing the kidneys to filter more aggressively, which slows healing. Fermented soy chunks often trigger bloating in sensitive individuals. This bloating doesn't just cause discomfort, it increases abdominal pressure, reducing proper blood flow to the kidneys and making filtration less efficient. When blood flow slows, creatinine tends to rise because the kidneys cannot clear waste at their normal pace. The heaviness felt after eating soy chunks is a sign that the body is working harder than expected. For someone with healthy kidneys, this strain may go unnoticed, but anyone with elevated creatinine will feel tired, sluggish, or mentally foggy afterward. That exhaustion is your body signaling that the kidneys are under stress. These chunks also require longer cooking times to soften, but even then the fibers remain firm. Because of this density, the digestive enzymes must work overtime to break them down. When digestion is burdened, it naturally pushes more work onto the kidneys because the bloodstream carries more leftover waste particles needing filtration. Their high phosphorus content is another hidden issue. When phosphorus builds up in the body, it directly affects kidney performance and disrupts mineral balance. Seniors and kidney patients often struggle to regulate phosphorus, making fermented soy chunks a poor choice when aiming to stabilize creatinine and protect long-term kidney health. Another risk is the hormonal impact of soy compounds. While not harmful for everyone, individuals with kidney stress may experience additional fluid retention or fluctuations in metabolism due to soy's natural chemical structure. This adds more instability to a kidney system already working beyond its comfort level. Fermented soy chunks also tend to absorb flavors heavily, encouraging the use of salt-loaded spices, sauces, or seasonings. Even when the soy itself isn't high in sodium, the way it's prepared can easily lead to high-salt meals that increase kidney strain. This combination of dense protein and seasoning makes it a high-risk choice for anyone with creatinine issues. People with high creatinine also have a harder time clearing the mineral-rich broth often used when soaking or cooking soy chunks. That broth carries concentrated nutrients and residues that make the kidneys work harder than they should. Discarding the soaking liquid helps, but the internal structure of soy chunks still holds compounds the kidneys struggle to manage. Soy chunks frequently cause dehydration because dense protein sources require extra water to process. When hydration drops, creatinine rises, and seniors often don't drink enough to compensate for this increased demand. Dehydration alone can elevate creatinine, creating the illusion that kidney function is worsening even faster. Another overlooked factor is how filling they are. Heavy, slow-digesting foods remain in the system longer, which increases the body's production of toxins. These toxins enter the bloodstream and must be filtered out by the kidneys. Fermented soy chunks linger in the system, making that filtering process continuous and demanding. Fermented soy chunks become more of a burden than a benefit for anyone managing high creatinine. Removing them from your routine helps lighten the digestive load, reduce metabolic waste, and free the kidneys from unnecessary pressure. This one simple change can make your meals feel lighter, your body feel clearer, and your kidneys function with far less strain. Now let's look at a snack that seems comforting and familiar, but quietly puts immense pressure on the kidneys. Deep-fried chickpea fritters may feel satisfying and warm, but for anyone with high creatinine, they create a heavy internal load that the kidneys must fight to handle. These fritters are made from chickpea flour, which is dense and protein-rich. While chickpeas have their benefits, once they're turned into fritters and submerged in hot oil, they become far more difficult for the body to break down. The frying process transforms the chickpea batter into a compact, oily mass that stays in the digestive system longer than lighter foods. This slow movement through the gut increases the amount of waste your kidneys must eventually filter. For someone with rising creatinine, this extra waste becomes a burden the kidneys simply cannot afford. Another challenge is the amount of oil absorbed during frying. Deep-fried fritters soak up oil like a sponge, and that excess fat contributes to inflammation inside the body. Inflamed tissues can interfere with proper blood flow, which the kidneys rely on to work efficiently. When circulation weakens, filtration slows, and creatinine begins to rise further. Fritters often trigger bloating, especially in seniors or those with weak digestion. When bloating occurs, it doesn't just create discomfort, it increases abdominal pressure and restricts smooth blood supply to the kidneys. Reduced blood flow means the kidneys cannot filter at their normal rhythm, making creatinine climb. Chickpea-based fritters also generate more nitrogen waste during digestion because of their high protein concentration. This nitrogen waste must be processed by the kidneys, and when kidney function is already compromised, the system becomes overwhelmed. This is why many people feel unusually tired after eating fritters. Their kidneys are working overtime behind the scenes. The crispy outside of fritters may feel enjoyable, but that crispiness is created by high heat, which forms harmful compounds in the oil. These compounds travel through the bloodstream and add oxidative stress to kidney tissues. Over time, this oxidative pressure weakens the filtration membrane, raising creatinine levels even more. Fritters are also prepared with heavy spices and salt in most households. These seasonings cling to the batter, and when fried, their intensity increases. The sodium alone is enough to trigger swelling in the ankles, tightening in the body, and elevated blood pressure, all factors that make kidney function decline faster. Another issue is the reheating habit. Many people refry leftover fritters or heat them again in oil, which multiplies the amount of damaged fat in the food. Reheated oil creates harmful byproducts that place greater stress on the kidneys, forcing them to deal with toxins not present in fresh, minimally processed foods. Even when baked versions are available, the traditional deep-fried fritters remain popular because of their taste. But taste comes at a cost. The kidneys must work harder to eliminate the combined load of oil, spices, and dense chickpea batter. This gives a temporary sense of satisfaction, but a long-term disadvantage to kidney function. These fritters also require a lot of digestive energy. When digestion slows, the bloodstream becomes more loaded with waste, and this automatically pushes the kidneys into harder work. For someone with high creatinine, slow digestion means that toxins stay in circulation much longer than the body can safely manage. Oil-rich foods like deep-fried fritters can also worsen dehydration. The body needs extra water to process oily, fried items, and many seniors do not drink enough to compensate. Dehydration makes the blood thicker, forcing the kidneys to work harder to filter out toxins, a direct pathway to rising creatinine. Chickpea fritters often cause a noticeable heaviness in the body after eating. This heaviness is more than just fullness. It's a sign that the metabolic load is high. When you feel tired, sluggish, or sleepy after consuming fritters, that is your kidneys showing signs of stress and strain. Because fritters are usually eaten in groups 2, 3, 5 at a time, the cumulative load becomes overwhelming. One fritter may not cause much harm, but a plate full of them creates a dramatic spike in internal waste, oil, and sodium. That combination is dangerous for kidneys that are already struggling. Another overlooked factor is how addictive fritters can be. Their combination of crispiness, warmth, and seasoning often encourages overeating. Even when someone intends to eat just one, they usually reach for more, and each additional fritter adds more strain to an already weakened filtration system. For individuals dealing with high creatinine, eliminating deep-fried chickpea fritters is one of the most effective steps toward relief. Removing them from your routine allows your body to digest more easily, reduces unnecessary metabolic waste, and gives your kidneys the breathing room they desperately need to recover and function more comfortably. So today we uncovered 3 everyday foods that quietly overload your kidneys and make high creatinine even harder to control: fermented soy chunks, deep-fried chickpea fritters, and pickled lotus stem. Each of these foods brings a different kind of pressure, whether it's dense protein that produces excess waste, heavy oils that slow digestion and inflame tissues, or extreme sodium that tightens blood vessels and spikes fluid retention. Removing these foods, even for a short time, can help your kidneys regain balance, improve filtration, and reduce the internal stress that pushes creatinine higher day after day. Your kidneys don't need complicated diets to heal, they need fewer obstacles. When you eliminate foods that burden the filtration system, every other step you take becomes more effective. Cleaner hydration works better, lighter meals digest more smoothly, and your body feels less weighed down. These small but powerful changes help create the steady, supportive environment your kidneys need to function with ease. If this guide helped you understand what to avoid on your kidney healing journey, type "healing" in the comments. Your support helps this community grow and allows more people to access natural, clear guidance for lowering creatinine. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kidney Health for more simple, practical tips that protect your kidneys every day. Take care of yourself, make mindful choices, and see you in the next video.